everyone, it's Budget Bunny here, and today I am bringing you to the great outdoors. It has been absolutely gorgeous most of this August. Perfect temperatures for the bunnies, a little on the cool side for my area of Canada, but very nice and refreshing for the rabbits. And since I am outdoors with the bunnies today, I thought I would make a video just on bringing your rabbit safely outdoors and include some kind of tips and things that you need to be aware of. This was a request video. I've had a few people ask me for it now, so I thought it was the perfect time to do it. There are definitely some instances where you do not want to bring your rabbits outdoors. Rabbits don't do well in extreme temperatures, so you wouldn't want to bring them out when it's really cold, although I can't see anyone wanting to spend a lot of time outdoors in the winter anyways. And you definitely don't want to bring them out when it's really hot. So I would say anything warmer than 22 Celsius. If you get a lot of humidity in your area, you want to probably even stick to something cooler than that. In my area of the city, our humidex is always making it like 5 to 10 degrees warmer. So you definitely don't want to expose your bunnies to that. I prefer the spring and the fall to bring the rabbits outdoors, but we've just been having really nice weather here lately. Other reasons include if you treat your garden or grass area with any kind of pesticides or fertilizers, and also if you regularly have pets like dogs out here doing their business. Now, our dogs are not allowed in our backyard because they are just too large for such a small area, and we wouldn't have any grass by the time they were done with it. But the main reason you don't want your rabbits on the same grass area as your dogs are that rabbits are grazers, and you wouldn't want them to be ingesting grass that had been peed or pooped on. That's the nicest way I can put it. So don't let them in an area that your dogs have been in. Depending on where you live may also mean it's not safe for your rabbits to be outdoors. If you live further out from the city or in country area, it may be dangerous to bring your rabbit outside. Being prey animals, predators in the area such as fox, hawks, wolves, coyotes, and an assortment of others may find your rabbit to be an easy meal. You also don't want to bring them outdoors if you don't have a fully enclosed backyard or your backyard is quite large, which would make it harder to get your rabbit, especially if there was a dangerous situation such as a bird swooping down on your rabbit or an animal trying to hurt your bunny. If you don't feel your backyard is safe, then I would suggest purchasing or building large pen areas or runs that are fully covered. I'll put a link in the down bar for some great run ideas. And even if you're like me living in the middle of a city with a small enclosed backyard, never ever leave your bunnies unattended for any amount of time. There is always the chance that a large prey bird, although I've only seen a few of these in the winter, could be passing by and think your rabbit looks like a good meal. A few minutes could be just enough time for your bunny to dig a hole under your fence and escape, or a neighborhood cat could see your rabbit as a meal and be in your backyard before you have a chance to shoo it away. Not to mention, even animals that don't pose a threat like squirrels or chipmunks or just small birds are still wild animals and could be carrying disease or fleas or mites, anything like that. So always when you're bringing your bunnies outdoors, make sure they're in a safe enclosed area and never ever leave them unattended. If you have a fully enclosed backyard like us, I would still suggest having a good look around to ensure there are no bunny escape holes. So our backyard is pretty secure, but because it does slope down a little bit, I find that our gate is a little high up. So what I'm going to do is just use some of the storage grids and secure those along the back and side of the fence. And I just use twine to do that. So again, it's important not to leave your bunnies unattended because, of course, if they were out here for any amount of time and took an interest to the twine, they could really chew through it all and then knock the grids out of place. But since I'm out here, I've secured it really, really well to the fence, and they won't be able to just move it and sneak out. The next thing I do is just kind of walk around my garden and backyard and just have a quick look at the weeds and plants that have grown up here. I'll leave you a list right here of some of the weeds that are safe and aren't safe for your bunnies. I don't think it's necessary to pull up every weed because in the wild, things like plantain and dandelion would be part of a rabbit's natural foraging diet. So I think it is important to leave some of these things here for them. But as the bunnies we keep as pets are domesticated, they may have lost that ability to recognize plants that are dangerous and aren't dangerous. And that's why you don't want to leave anything that's poisonous out, just because your rabbit may not realize and have a nibble of it, and that could be enough to make your rabbit extremely sick or to kill them. And I do think that it's better to be safe than sorry, so when in doubt, remove that plant or block access to it. Now, I do have some dangerous plants in our gardens, but that's part of the reason why my husband and I built a raised garden. So there are things like lilies in here which you don't want your rabbit to eat. So the raised garden creates a barrier between what the bunnies do and don't have access to. Again, this is why I never leave my rabbits unattended, because if they really wanted, they could jump into the garden and get into trouble. But that's why I am out here the whole time just kind of supervising them. The other thing I would suggest for your rabbit's health is to not bring them out when you've freshly mowed your lawn. We have an electric mower, which I would highly recommend if you have a smaller backyard and somewhere to plug it in, because it's going to cut your grass as cleanly as possible, whereas a typical lawnmower uses gas, and that gas is going to get into the lawn clippings. So that's why if you are using a regular gas-powered lawnmower, you don't want to bring your rabbits out right after you've mowed the lawn, because you don't want them to ingest any of those grass clippings from the mower. And I would highly suggest that after you mow your lawn with one of those kind of mowers, to make sure to rake up all that grass and then give it a couple days before you let your bunnies out. Kind of let them out in between. What we do, we don't mow our lawn that much because I want the grass to be a little longer so that the bunnies can enjoy nibbling on it. So now we've got our area prepped. Your rabbits are either in some kind of enclosure, or you've made sure that your backyard is fully bunny proofed. They can't escape from anywhere, and you've pulled any of those nasty weeds. So now we want to set up our bunnies area. And as I've said before, rabbits are prey animals, so they are especially sensitive to loud noises or different noises, different smells in the air. So you want to make sure that you have lots of hiding places and tunnel areas, things for them to retreat to if they don't feel safe. And especially in even this size backyard, it's quite a big area for the bunnies to run around in, which it's open area, so it might make them feel a little more timid and scared to be out and about. So you want to make sure that you've got your hidey houses, your tunnels. Of course, you want toys and things. You'll also want to make sure that fresh water is always available, especially on those warmer days. And you may want to also have hay out as well. I wouldn't really recommend bringing out food like any kind of fruit or vegetables and feeding it at this time, because that's just going to attract bugs and flies and things that you don't want necessarily around your rabbit. And besides bugs, this will also encourage them to eat some of the fresh grass and weeds that are now available to them. The other thing I would suggest if you don't bring your rabbits out regularly is to start bringing them out for just very short periods of time. Fresh grass and things like that can cause a bit of stomach upsets to more sensitive bunnies. So letting them out for short periods of time allows their systems to gradually get used to these new types of foods, as well as the different temperatures and airflow. The other thing you could do is also include a small amount of fresh grass clippings, again not from the lawnmower, you want to clip this yourself, and you could maybe include some weeds and add it in with their vegetables a few times a week. Then you can gradually increase the amount of time that your rabbits are outside for without worrying that it'll cause any shock to their delicate systems. And since, like I said, rabbits can't take the heat very well, I suggest putting them out when the sun isn't directly on your backyard. So I usually wait till later in the day when the sun has moved over the top of our house to bring them out. Especially on warmer days, that can make a huge difference because it can be up to 10 degrees difference from a really sunny spot to a really shady spot. And that's another reason that you want to also include those hidey houses and tunnels, is it'll provide a cooler retreat for your bunny if they get a little too warm. Now on hotter days as well, another suggestion would be to include a frozen water bottle. Honey loves these. I freeze water bottles just with some water inside, and then I put a sock over it just so that it's not too cold. And on those days that it's just that little bit warmer, it helps to keep her cool, and I often find her laying up against it. If you're planning on having your bunnies outdoors a lot, you may also want to consider flea prevention. We use Revolution here in the warmer months when I know I'm going to be bringing the rabbits outside. None of them have fleas, but just as a preventative measure, I always make sure that everyone's treated with it. There will also be a few links in the down bar that will take you to articles on the website BudgetBunny.ca that will go into a little more detail on things like fly strike and mosquitoes, pretty much all about the yucky bugs you need to look out for, especially if your rabbits spend a lot of time outdoors. And if you're living in areas such as the UK and Australia, you'll also want to make sure that your rabbits are up to date on their annual vaccinations for myxomatosis and VHD. If you're concerned about any of these things, I would suggest talking to your vet about the right treatments and options for you and your rabbits. So I think that's everything for today. Now you're all ready to take your bunnies safely outdoors. Enjoy! Thanks for watching!